Hello everyone, my name is Auro and welcome to the 31st devlog of my base building game, Chambers of Devious Design. Alright, let's get started right away with what I have done recently. So, let's start the game here. One thing I did was adjust the starting positions of the players. So previously, one problem that I had was that in some maps the starting positions were quite unfair. One example of a map I had was that the positions were like in a straight line. So for example, player 1 was here and then maybe player 2 and player 3 and player 4 here. So yeah, it's probably obvious what the issue is with this kind of a starting position in the map. So yeah, if the first and third player start to tease the second player right away, it's quite easy for the second player to get stuck there and lose the game quite fast, just because they are immediately in this crossfire defensive position, whereas the player at the edges, the first player and the fourth player, really don't have any issues like that at all. One thing I also did was that I actually customized the starting positions for different player counts. So for example, with 2 players the starting positions might be something like this in this map. Then with 3 players are the ones you currently see on the screen, and then with 4 players, I don't know, something like this over here. So yeah, basically the 3 player setup was the most problematic one if I use the same positions. So you can imagine again, if these 3 here were the starting positions for the 3 player variant, I guess this guy over here is in the worst positions, being kind of in the middle, not really, but he could very easily be cornered over here, whereas these 2 players here have a bigger landscape to work with. So yeah, now with each map I have different starting positions for each different player count. I also want to quickly show my hacky way of defining the 3 player variant starting positions. So I probably could have done this in Unity also on the code side, but I'm currently in Inkscape, and the way I defined fair 3 player starting positions was that I basically made a circle and divided it into 3 of these I don't know what they are called, circle parts. And then I basically just rotated it around and made it also smaller, so the starting positions are a bit tighter. And yeah, I basically now just check what are the coordinates at the edges of the lines here at the edge of the circle. So those would be the starting positions, and the logic is that they are the same distance from the middle of the circle. So yeah, I don't know if this kind of a funny way to handle this, but yeah, it was easy for me to do this, so I figured, yeah, this is the simplest, fastest way I could do this. Then I also added a few new shapes into the game to provide a bit of additional variance to the rooms. Yeah, not much else to say about that. There are 6 new shapes in the game that will provide a bit more variance. One additional thing related to shapes that I did was that I removed my small circle shape. And the reason why I did that was that in many situations, especially for new players, it could be kind of confusing how you could place the block. Sometimes it looked like you could place a small circle somewhere, but then on a closer look, there was actually this really small overlap, maybe with another small circle room or some other room, and yeah, it was kind of hard to visually notice it. So I can imagine that for some players it can be very frustrating. You see like a perfect location for the block and then you try to place it and you just can't do it, and maybe it will take you a while to even notice that like there's a small like interlapping with another room that prevents the placing. So while it actually worked as planned in the game, I figured it's not worth keeping it in because it can cause additional frustration, which doesn't really apply to the other blocks. They don't have the same issue at all. Maybe the big circle block might have somewhat of a similar issue, but I think it is a much rarer case when that will cause issues. So yeah, bye bye small circle block. You were a great friend so far, but you need to go now. Luckily there are new shapes to replace you. Then I also added some new gameplay options here. So for example, these sensitivities are new, so now you can move the camera really fast and zoom really fast if you want, or alternatively really slow if you want. And then I also added this like rotate only 90 degrees. So basically the blocks only have like viable placement locations in 90-degree angles. So yeah, basically 4 rotations for each room. And in the normal mode you can rotate it freely, but it's just like a visual thing mostly. If you want pure functionality, this is all you need, so I figured some players might enjoy this mode. Then I also added this mouse only controls. This was actually something that multiple people requested me after the demo was out. So yeah, now you don't need the keyboard at all to play the game. You can like pick rooms normally with mouse, and then if you want to rotate it, you can use the scroll to rotate it. So yeah, this should provide a like more relaxed playing style for those who don't want to use the keyboard. Maybe they want to chill on the couch with only a mouse or something like that. And finally, I have this room smoke trail, which by default is set to short, so let me show you what the long means. So it's this effect that comes from the block when you drag it. So yeah, gameplay wise I think this doesn't look that great, but if you're just like wanting to look at cool shapes and maybe get like a psychedelic twist to the game, I think this looks, it's kind of fun to play around with, at least. Yeah, that's what I think. And just quickly, I also added this randomize button here for the custom games, so if you don't want to decide and click through the different settings, you can just press randomize and it will randomize the settings for you. Then I also did a bit of Steam backend setup stuff. So with a few clicks I set up this like cloud saving thing. So yeah, basically now Steam will save your save file to their cloud also. So if you change your device or maybe your computer gets wiped out, then your save file will luckily be saved in the Steam cloud. On top of that, I also defined some Steam stats for my game, and I actually have a video about this on my channel if you're interested in Steam stats. I think it's a great video and I highly recommend you watch it. So yeah, with these Steam stats I can basically gain more information about how the game is being played. I'm interested in the usual stuff like games played, games won, games lost, things like that. But then more so I'm also interested in like how many players are using controllers to play. So like was it worth to implement like controller support for the game? Then I am also collecting information about like which languages are actually used most in the game. So in Steam's reports you can see that okay, this is how many people are buying your game from a certain region or country, but you cannot actually see like which language they are using the game. So for example, someone from Germany might buy my game, but I don't know if he likes to play the game in English or German, so I think that's quite an interesting information to find out. And then yeah, I'm also collecting information about the difficulty they are playing with and what else. Yeah, the multiplayer. So basically I'm detecting if there are multiple input devices used to play the game. So for example 2 controllers or something like that. So that also actually ties into the controller support, because in order to enable multiplayer matches I needed to add controller support. So yeah, I'm tracking these, and let me know if you think I forgot something very important. And also keep in mind that you can actually like deduce some stats from achievements also. So for example, I think I have an achievement like all campaigns finished with some difficulty. So I don't need a separate stat for that, even though I'm interested in knowing that. So I can just look at the achievements, like 15% people have completed this achievement. So yeah, based on that I can calculate the actual amount, like how many players have actually like finished the campaigns with a certain difficulty, and yeah, things like that. Previously I was also thinking about collecting information about like how many like rooms of specific types the players are placing in the game. So my idea was that with that information I could maybe adjust the balance of the game. For example, if red rooms were used like a lot more than the other room types, yeah, then I knew that okay, maybe red rooms are too powerful and should be nerfed, but no, then I did some thinking, like I figured I don't really have time and patience for that. If players complain about something, I will just think like okay, let's see if this is worth like adjusting. But yeah, I didn't really want to like come up with some really complicated stat system to make changes to the game. If I was like a big studio, maybe I would do that, but yeah, I don't really have too much time to look into these stats realistically. And by the way, related to the stats, I think I showed this also in my stat video, but yeah, I had this like Python script, a simple script written that will like check what the current values for the stats are. I'm thinking as a further improvement I will probably add some like CSV export to this script also, that I will be able to automatically set the values with a simple just activation of the script, and then just later on look at them, maybe get some like a historical line how they have evolved over time. I think that would be kind of nice to have. Maybe it would also be good to have some sort of a automation for it, so that I don't have to do it myself, but let's see. This all takes time, so maybe it's not really that worth it. And yeah, you can actually now see that the stats are working as they should, because some values have a total value of 1, and that is basically me. I did a quick test to verify these, and yeah, as you can see, I wasn't playing with English, but I was playing with Finnish, so yeah, it's working as it should. Continuing with the stat theme, I actually had these Steam stats also in my demo version, and I hadn't looked at these before, but I figured maybe you might be interested to find out like what this looked like when I pushed the demo out for the Steam Next Fest. So yeah, I have the numbers here, so let's see. Okay, so the number of people who started the demo is 1960 people. Then the number of people who played one match is 1,457 people. So yeah, basically 1/4 of the players started the game but actually didn't play one match. I don't know what the point of that was. Maybe they changed their mind, or maybe it's some like bot thing. I don't know. Maybe farming some Steam things. Who knows? Then the amount of people who started the tutorial is 1,396 people. That's actually surprisingly good. And I'm not counting like duplicate tutorial starts or anything. It's really the amount of unique people who start the tutorial. So yeah, that's very surprising. So almost all of the people who played one match also played through the tutorial. Maybe the idea of my game is too hard to grasp without playing through the tutorial, or maybe just the like Steam Next Fest people who try demos are very diligent at like understanding how the game is actually played. I don't know, but that sounds like a really high number, at least to me. Then I have some stats for the different difficulties. The number of rounds won with easy difficulty is 363, and the number of losses on easy difficulty is 71. Then the number of wins on normal difficulty is 2,339. And unfortunately I had a typo in my code, so I don't have the numbers for the losses on normal difficulty. So yeah, I had a typo there, something like medium wins when it should have been normal wins. So yeah, check for typos. Then on hard difficulty, the number of wins is 240 and the losses is 322. And with the highest master difficulty, the number of wins is 275 and the losses are 283. So yeah, clearly people like playing with the normal difficulty, and I think maybe one surprising thing is that there are actually more losses with the hard difficulty than there are with the master difficulty. But maybe there's some psychology that explains that. Like, I imagine some hardcore players might directly jump to the master difficulty. So maybe they have played some similar games and then they like are also better equipped to win the matches, and maybe the hard is more for people like who have a like gradual ramp up in their skill level. I don't know, just trying to explain the like difference in numbers somehow, but I would be interested to hear what you think about these numbers. Maybe you have some insights that I didn't think about here. Okay, enough about stats. Let's talk about one nifty idea I came up with related to the music in the game. So this idea came to me based on my last game, More to Glory. When I sent out keys to YouTubers, some of them, not quite many, but a few of them asked me like, is the music in the game copyrighted? Can they use it in their videos? And back then I didn't really have a good answer to give. Basically something like, yeah, they should be, something like that. But now, this time I wanted a more practical answer to that. So what I did was I edited together all the music in my game, and then I published them as private videos on YouTube. Anyone with a YouTube account can do this. I'm actually using my private account for this just in case, and you just need to keep the like video duration under 15 minutes and you can upload as many private videos as you want. And the point of all this is that if the music you are using has been added to the YouTube like content ID system, basically usually if it's a copyright music track, YouTube will actually detect that, as you can see here. So I have my Msuik Check 2 video here, and you can see that it has a copyright claim. So yeah, even if it is a private video, it should notify you if it has music that is copyrighted. I had something like 25 music tracks in my game, and 3 of them actually like were flagged in this YouTube Content ID system. So I just went ahead and deleted those. So now if some YouTuber plays my game and like plays out the music in my game, they shouldn't get this issue of a copyright claim. I don't know how many YouTubers actually like use the original audio, like especially for this reason. They really don't want any copyright claims, or maybe they want to disable the original music to have a bit more flexibility with the editing. But for the YouTubers who want to use the original audio, I'm sure they will appreciate that they won't get a copyright claim on the game's music. And yeah, of course this isn't like foolproof. Like some track that you have in the game, it can get like added to the YouTube Content ID system later on. So the music might be flagged in the future, even though it doesn't display any copyright claim here. But yeah, at least it's something, and now I can say to the YouTubers like with confidence that yeah, I have checked this issue, that there aren't like any Content ID claims with the music in the game. This was a quick thing to do. It took me maybe like 1 hour for the whole thing. So yeah, if you're using music from like asset stores or something that isn't like original just in your game, I do recommend you check this out, because like my music was all from asset stores, the Unity asset store specifically, and the license there actually grants like full commercial license to use the music. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's sort of like a gray area that even though I do have the license to use it, it will get copyright claim on YouTube. I don't really know like the full details how that works, and if this is a big issue, or if you can just like contest the claim and say that okay, but I do have a license, yeah, I got this from Unity Asset Store and they said I can use it. But who knows, it's less trouble if you don't have music in your game that can get copyright claimed, I think. Then back into the game, I also spent quite a bit of time adding the Finnish translations to the game. So yeah, I did this translations myself, and I have to say it's not my favorite thing to do, because I had almost 10,000 words in the game, so even though I know both languages quite well, it does take some time to go through everything. And yeah, I'm happy to leave most of the translations for the actual professionals. Then as the final thing, I also did some testing with the like different post-processing effects that Unity offers. Previously I have been using just the bloom effect, basically to make all the lights more shinier. But I had been thinking that like, okay, maybe if there's some like easy effect that I can add that makes the game more pretty, then yeah, it's worth the like effort to check things out. But I couldn't really find anything like that would make like noticeable improvement in my game. Like I can of course like adjust the colors easily, but yeah, I didn't really feel any need to do that or adjust the saturation or things like that. But of course I'm not a post-processing like expert, so I would also love to hear if someone in my audience is very good with this post-processing effects. Like if you think there's something that is worth exploring more in a 2D game like mine. Like I imagine a 3D game would have more of these things that you should add, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know if something comes to your mind. Alright, that was actually everything I did after the last devlog. I took a 1 week vacation, so I didn't get quite so many hours in as I could have, but yeah, I think I still managed quite a bit of some nice progress in this devlog, and I'm happy to notice that I actually don't have like that much additional stuff to add to the game. Of course, things like testing, polishing, marketing, those will still take quite a bit of time, but yeah, I'm quite confident at the moment that maybe I will be able to finish the game like in 1 or 2 months. I had to see like how much time I want to commit to the like polishing, because I could continue that to the next year probably, but yeah, I had to do some like hard prioritization with the polishing, so I don't really overcommit to it. Okay, but hey, that was everything, so I would love to hear what you think about what I did in this devlog, or if there's anything else in your mind. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.